Lil Yachty. So he might have a little bias when it comes to what he's saying right now because he worked with the Drake. You know, he's worked with them on several songs and projects, blah, blah, blah. But he said something that caught a lot of people's attention and just people were kind of debating it online on Twitter and stuff like that. So let's play the clip and then we'll go over exactly what I think and why he said what he said.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. I got one more question.
Sure, what's up?
Do you want to shout anybody out?
Do you want to shout anyone out to come on the podcast? Sorry.
Do I want to shout anyone out to come out? I'm confused.
Shout someone out to come on the podcast.
Tell somebody.
Tell
to come
someone.
out.
Yeah.
Who do y'all want to come on the podcast?
Anyone.
Yeah.
That sounds desperate.
Dude, it's good.
Who are y'all dream guests?
There's a lot. I mean,
I know you have one, Payne.
Pay wants Drake.
I drink glass.
Oh, you want the biggest rapper of all time?
Yeah,
Okay, he's aiming for the stars. Okay. All right.
First, who the fuck are these kids? It seems like a bunch of teenagers, and Lil Yachty is on this podcast, and I clicked on their page, and they're like a whole new platform, and they just got Lil Yachty on their thing, and it's like, what the fuck? That is so random. I sometimes think, and this might be some hater talk right here. I'm not even gonna lie. This sounds like some hater shit, but some of these fucking people just create a podcast and all of a sudden have special celebrities come and do interviews with them like it's nothing, like it's the easiest thing ever. I think they're like industry plants. Like there's no way you start a platform with nothing, like no viewership, nothing. I've seen like me trying to get a 50 Cent interview has been the hardest thing ever versus some fucking random radio station with 1,000 subscribers and they get a 50 Cent interview and it gets like 10,000 views. And it's like, what the fuck? Like that, but because it's a radio station, they got Radio Connects, 50, probably has a history with some of them. So I get it, but some of these platforms just out of like that Bobby Altoff girl, like where the fuck did she come from? And it's just, it's just, I don't know, man. I can understand when people say, hey, this person on some Illuminati shit like sold their soul for fame, because some of these people just come up out of nowhere and just dominate and just get all these celebrities and all these views. And it's like, where the fuck were you all these years? But it sounds like some hater shit. I'm not saying that about them because I don't know them. I could be, they could be grinding for a long time and then just started a second YouTube channel and I don't know about their main one. I have no idea. I did see Logan Paul on one of their little videos, not like on their podcast, but one of their videos. So, they might be tapped in with Logan Paul and that makes sense, But yeah, let's get back to the actual what Lil Yachty was talking about. Lil Yachty said Drake is the biggest rapper of all time. And here's the thing. I'm going to have to hold some people's hand when I say this. Statistically, numbers-wise, there's two categories, and this is the way I view it. There's streaming, and then there's physical album sales. To me, those two have to be separated because physical album sales is different than streaming, way different. Back then, you would spend $10 to $16, whatever the amount would be. If it was deluxe version with the DVD, you never know. Let's just say $13 right in the middle, right, on a CD. And unless you messed up that CD and scratched it or whatever, you wouldn't be rebuying that CD. It would just be a one-time purchase, and that's it. With streaming, you can restream and restream and restream, and the access is there 24/7. With CDs, you would have to either be in a car or have like a little CD player or whatever the case may be. You would have to have something that could play CDs for you to enjoy the music. And those streams didn't count. It was just you bought the CD and that's it, So there has to be a separation between the two. And the reason why I mention this is because the biggest rapper of all time, the only way you can gauge that is through sales and charts and stuff like that. There's no other way you can gauge that, in my eyes. I don't know. If you guys can think of a different way to gauge that, biggest, not best, not most lyrical, none of that. Just the biggest, period. The biggest, the most dominant, right? There's only two. It's Eminem and Drake. That's it. Some people are going to throw at me Kanye West. He's kind of a producer / rapper. He doesn't really write his stuff, so you can't really put Kanye. But Kanye is up there. Some people are going to throw Jay-Z. Jay-Z is big, really big in America. worldwide, he's not as big. And people are going to throw shit at me for that. But reality is Jay-Z, I don't remember the last time he did an actual worldwide tour and touched every area in the world and, dominated that. His worldwide sales aren't as big as his sales in America, and the numbers just prove it. I mean, you can look that up yourself. So I'm not going to argue those. Just Eminem and Drake. Those are the two biggest artists, hip-hop artists of all time. Eminem dominated the CD era. What is it? Marshall Mathers LP. He almost sold 2 million copies. Well, that's another 300,000. He did 1.76 million. So 1,760,000 copies the first week. Almost another 300,000 basically, and you're doing 2 million first week. So that's the highest first week sales for any hip hop artist ever. And then he did 1.3 million with the Eminem show. And this is like back to back. So 2000, in the year 2000, he dropped Marshall Mathers LP, and then the year 2002 dropped Eminem show. So you're talking about 1.7 million and 1.3 million in the first week. And then these albums ended up going diamond in America alone, and the worldwide Eminem show is like at an astronomical, it sold more than Marshall Mathers LP as time went on worldwide. It's like at an astronomical 26 to 30 million copies, potentially more. Let me actually, just to make sure so people don't scold me on here, but it's somewhere in like the 25 to 30 million. Yeah, so 27 million copies worldwide. It is 12 times platinum, basically diamond, and another 2 million. So 12 million sold in America alone, the Eminem show. So if we're talking physical CDs, pre-streaming, Eminem is the biggest artist of all time. A hip-hop artist. Sorry, I'm not going to say biggest artist. Scratch that. Biggest hip-hop artist of all time. There's no debate that. I mean, numbers say that. Charts say that. Whatever you want to put up says that. I mean, he was touring in Japan. He was touring everywhere across the globe at that time. Now, with streaming, we're not going to discredit Eminem in streaming because he's also done well in streaming. But obviously, that's more of Drake's era. The beautiful thing about Drake's career is and Eminem's as well, but mainly Drake's, is that he got the tail end of album sales, so he could still prove that he could sell albums. Because when people say, "Oh, if Drake was in the album selling 2000s era, he wouldn't be able to sell albums," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He was in that era where streaming wasn't counted as sales. He did, I think, his best first week sales without streaming added onto it was like almost 700,000 the first week. Now, people might be like, "Oh, look at Eminem, he did 1.7 million." Well, it's a different era, different time. CDs weren't selling like that in 2000. And what did he do 700,000? He did, might have been Nothing Was the Same or Take Care. One of those did 650, 660, almost 700,000 first week, right? And that album ended up doing physically Take Care and Nothing Was the Same, which was released in 2012. No, Take Care was released in 2011, and Nothing Was the Same was released in 2013. And both of those albums in physical CD sales, this is physical sales, have done 4 million copies. And this is the tail end of physical CD sales. So imagine Drake in the 2000s when CDs were actually selling, or the 90s or whatever. He would definitely do 10 million. That's not even a question. I think anybody who doubts that or is like, "Oh, that's bullshit," nah. Streaming has helped him. It actually helped him get his first number one song. So he did struggle on getting a number one record as a solo lead artist because I believe it was One Dance. That was his first number one, and that's in 2018. So it took him till 2018 to finally get his first number one song as a lead artist on a song, because he got number one with Rihanna, but that was Rihanna's song Work. But yeah, so streaming helped him on that aspect, but with sales, album sales, he still would have done those sales. To debate that and be like, "Nah, he wouldn't have done that." There's proof in the pudding. So I separate the two in terms of who's the biggest. Eminem was the biggest in the era of selling CDs and albums like that, and then Drake is the biggest in the streaming. Now, overall, as the years go on, people are not going to like to hear this, but Drake's music is going to outsell eventually Eminem's in total. He is catching up, and there's some metrics where he is passing him. Now, you could argue streaming made it a lot easier for him. Yes, that is a huge advantage for Drake. You could argue, because Drake's had a long run at the top. Eminem had this long run at the top, but then had that drug problem and took about almost 4 years off. No, you could say about 3 years off. came back with Relapse, and then since then he's been doing pretty good, or really good actually, because Recovery did well. Recovery is actually in the 2010s. It's the only album to, I think it's the best-selling album in the 2010s. Sorry, I was gonna say best hip hop selling. I think best-selling album period in the 2010s. Nah, because I think Adele did insane numbers. So never mind. Best-selling hip hop album in the 2010s. Eminem has with the Recovery right now, currently. So it's not like he just fell off and hasn't done anything post the drug issues, because he's dominated still. And the way Eminem's adapted and still doing great numbers after all these years shows that, hey, he's still here to stay. I mean, Death of Slim Shady did almost 300,000 first week. That's great numbers for somebody who's been in the game since first album dropping in 1999. We're talking 26, 27 years. Like, come on. So that's the way I break it down. I do think Eminem is still the biggest artist, hip-hop artist, period, right now. I think Drake comes number 2, and he's probably, I don't know, man, the next 10 years, I think Eminem is eventually just going to retire, and Drake's younger and has this streaming advantage. So Drake could, potentially surpass Eminem. Now, some people consider Drake not a rapper. I consider him a rapper. I don't care if you think he's make pop hits. Eminem is make pop hits as well. I mean, on Recovery, got songs with Pink and Rihanna. So come on. Like, I think people make this argument of, but Eminem does rap a little bit more instead of Drake does more melodic. Whatever. There's a debate on that could happen. I'm not going to get into that because people are just going to go crazy. Be like, Quake, this, that. So that's the way I break it down. Right now, Eminem is still the best selling, but Drake is number 2. Everybody else kind of just is 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you want to do in numbers at that point. And we're just going, because the only way you can gauge biggest is sales. That's it, man. There's no other way, unless they just both decide to do a world tour. And I'm talking about a real world tour. I'm talking about stopping in every continent in the planet and seeing what they do numbers wise. If Eminem decided to do a tour, I'm telling you right now, that guy would easily generate $500 million. Like, it's nothing. I don't know why he hasn't. I think he should do one tour, one last hurrah, and I would go to it immediately. Like, I would buy tickets without even thinking. But yeah, interesting view from Lil Yachty. And as the time goes on, there's gonna be people that that view Drake as the biggest artist, and people are gonna start, because generations are gonna start getting older, and then unless you pass it on to your kids and you tell them about this artist, people are gonna forget, man. Internet kind of helps with that, but these new kids aren't saying there, oh my God, I want to meet Eminem. Now, some are, but majority would be like, nah, I want to meet Drake instead of Eminem. And that's the new generation, man. Whether you agree with it or not, that just is what it is. So interesting, take by Lil Yachty.